Hi, everyone. My name is Uri, and I wrote Angular Meteor, and it's a very original name, I know. And first, I would like to thank our community for sending me here. I don't know if you know, but all the talks here were, you could submit a pull request for asking for the talk, and our talk was the most commented +1 talk by far. So, and our community is like, so also I've also asked sorry from the organizers. They got a lot of spam for us. And yeah, and also it's very exciting for me because I started this project like a few months ago, and the community is like getting crazily big. So it's really, really exciting. I'm gonna start with the summary of my talk. So if you will fall asleep or something like that, you will remember the most important stuff. So the most important thing is that you can write an Angular JS application with Meteor. So don't let anyone else tell you different. You can just do that. And with Angular Meteor, you can actually use your existing application and all the third-party libraries. You can just take your existing application, and it's like the HTTP service or like the Firebase service. You can just inject the Meteor service, and then you can work with Meteor's data, with Meteor's methods, with Meteor's form gap, everything you need. So we created that. Also, Angular is not like a patch on Meteor. Like we build it in the same way. It works exactly like Blaze on top of Meteor. Blaze is Meteor's UI framework. And Angular Meteor sits on top of Meteor exactly in the same way. So it's not like a patch or something like that. The data flows exactly the same. So that's another important point. And the last point is, I think you should really check Meteor. Like just from my experience in the past 6-7 months. So I am an Angular developer. I'm not a Meteor developer. Wasn't a Meteor developer until a few months ago. And I've been an Angular developer for a while. My first Angular talk was at Google, and there were 15 people on the crowd, and nobody knew what Angular was. And I had the short hair. So it was a long time ago. And Angular was always my silver bullet, right? I used to consult to a lot of companies, and I always enjoyed Angular. And in the backend, I haven't found like my silver bullet for many reasons. In Angular, stuff makes sense, and they're so fast, and you have two-way data bindings. But then you get to REST, and REST for me, it's a little bit like going back to jQuery. Now suddenly it's the same, like I'm going to do like CRUD specifically, like explicitly updating the server. It feels strange. And so I tried all kinds of solutions. And then also there's like real-time solutions, but they're not part of your stack. And you can't install it on your own servers, and they're not open source. So I haven't found anything that I liked so much as Angular. And then I saw Meteor. And the first time I saw Meteor was the 10-minute video. I don't know if you saw that. I think about 2 years ago, they released a 10-minute video that they developed a full app in 10 minutes. And I said, whoa, that's amazing. And I was sure, like, that makes sense. I'm sure, like, they will sit together with Angular, and everything will be great. And in a year from now or 6 months from now, I can work with Meteor. And I waited, and nothing happened. Like, they continued their path, and Angular continued their path, and they never collided. And then I gave another talk about Angular. It was actually a face-off between Angular and Ember. I represented Angular, and today the Ember guy is an Angular developer, so I guess I did a good job. And after the talk came a guy. I talked to this guy, and he said, I built my startup in 3 months. I haven't knew how to develop before, and I used Meteor. And I said, OK, I think I should try this again. And that's when I started the next project after that. I started using Angular and Meteor, and bit by bit created this platform. So what I did with Angular Meteor is actually what I said before in the first slide. I made it a service. So you can just use your existing applications. you just inject the Meteor service, you bind it into your collection, the Meteor collection that lives everywhere. It lives like on the server and on the client, and that's it. Right now you have like, you can call it three-way data binding. I prefer to call it full stack reactivity because of the way we handle the data. And that's it. And you can use your existing knowledge. You just migrate your existing applications. And also I written like lots of tutorials and APIs so you can learn from. And the most important thing is that you can use your third-party libraries. Like you can use famous Angular or like a UI router or Ionic or even Firebase. You can use both Meteor and Firebase together. And actually, Firebase was an inspiration for me for the API because Firebase did a really good job of integrating with Angular, right? There's the Angular Fire, which is a very nice library. And after seeing that, I said, OK, I want to do something like that, but with Meteor. And with all the Meteor service, not just the real-time data API. So there's a good talk of Lucas. I think he gave it on the NG Europe about Firebase. And in that talk, he presented this. I'll show you here right now. He presented this example that's called unicorns, a unicorn. And it's run on Firebase. And every time you update one of them, then it updates real time. So you just like, I can just go here, and I can update it here. And this is like a completely different client on the right side, and it updates. I can add a new unicorn, which has 30 unicorns, and it will be here. So, and I can update it. So that's a nice example, but what you see here, it's not Firebase. It's actually Meteor, Angular Meteor. And to port the Firebase into Meteor took us 30 minutes. Just like a programmer that I'm working with, he himself took 30 minutes and he built that, which is very courageous to show example you work on 30 minutes on ng-conf. And it works. And it just says a lot both about Angular Meteor and both on Firebase. So those are just services that you can inject to your application and you can use everything the same way. So basically, all I want you to do today is just like Google Angular Meteor and try it, right? Like everything I would say here, I already written on the tutorial, and I already created videos for it, and I just did it already. So just go and try. Go right now, type Angular Meteor, and try it. Like nobody will do it for you. Yeah, go. So yeah, so Angular, you know. So what is Meteor? Meteor is, the official explanation is an open source platform for building web and mobile applications in JavaScript. It says a lot, and I'm not from Meteor here, so I won't gonna give you the full talk, but I'm gonna tell you what me as an Angular developer thinks about Meteor. I think it's like your infrastructure team. So if I would develop, I was a front-end developer in Gmail, I would have an infrastructure team. And in Gmail, no front-end developer in Gmail does HTTP requests. It doesn't work like that. So in Gmail or in Facebook or Twitter or Asana or all the big companies, I have a local database, and I have an infrastructure team that takes care of all the things about the network and mobile and a lot of stuff that are beyond HTTP and real-time services, and Meteor does that, right? So Meteor gives me all that, but for free, and it's open source. So instead of building it, Gmail has their specific team, Asana has their specific team, Twitter has their specific team. Meteor is an open source platform that does basically that. And that's the real web architecture, right? Like all the developers in Angular do HTTP requests, but that's not how the big guy is doing that. And then we're wondering why our applications are not working in the same way. So Meteor gives you that for free. And I think the best example for that is Trello. So probably you all know Trello. Trello is my lifesaver. I put everything on Trello, my life, my everything. And they have a really, really strong development team. And And they shared a lot of like content about how hard it was for them to do all that, right? So they have a real-time integration. You probably know that, and I can, work with other people. I can put stuff, and it's all real-time, and I can like write comments here, and add other people and share, and everything happens real-time with latency compensation, and it doesn't matter if I'm online or offline. Now, this is Trello, and this is a very nice application, but maybe you see that this Trello is a little bit green. And if you will focus on, well, maybe not on me, but on the logo here, you will see it's not, actually, this is not Trello. This is Libreboard. And Libreboard is a Trello replica that was developed by these two guys. And it was developed, they are from 2 different countries. They're 2 developers, part-time, in 2 months. And you should try it. Just like go and type Libreboard. It works great. So I think that's the best example to show that you can get that Gmail infrastructure, but there's finally like, I guess, an open source stack that you can use to get that infrastructure team for free. Another thing that is important to me definitely as an Angular developer is I need the big community. And Meteor is getting big, like really big. Like just on the time that I started that, it went from like 1,000 packages to 4,000 packages. It's now ranked 11. It's about to pass, on GitHub, it's about to pass Rails. And it's getting really big. It's like you can type Angular whatever, and you'll get Angular whatever. You get a directive for that, like Angular Unicorn, and you'll get Angular directive Unicorn. And in Meteor, you can do the same. You can now just do Meteor Elasticsearch. You can do Meteor SQL. You can do anything, and you'll find a package for that. Meteor Analytics, whatever. And that's, for me, the biggest test of showing that that a framework is mature. So again, just try. Just go and type Angular Meteor, and try my tutorial. Like I invested a lot of time in that. Yeah, do it. Seriously. So yeah, so let's look a little bit on code. So I'll open my code here. So I have a very simple application. The simplest one, right? I'll make it larger. So I have just the simplest party example, right? So and I have 2 routes. One is for a list of parties, and one is for party details. And I have the 2 controllers, and I have their their views. So everything is very, very simple. I can run it like that. Okay, let's run like this and that. I have it running here. So I can just this is the simplest app. I can add a new party. Right, and I'll add it here, and it's happening here, and it's not happening on the other side because obviously it's just a local service. Like if I'll refresh it here, it will disappear. So what you would do right now as an Angular developer, so you would just add the HTTP service. So let's do the same, but with Meteor. So I'll just go here and add my Meteor service. And the next thing I need to do is bind that service into something. Now that something is what I have here. So in Meteor, I'm writing that code once, and those parties are my data. That's all the server code I'm going to write today. And those parties live everywhere. They have like this special compiler or like build system that now those parties living everywhere. And when I'm updating the data, I'm actually updating the data on the local database, and Meteor will take care of sending it later to all of my clients and check for permissions and everything. So how do I bind it into that? I just call Meteor, and I have a collection, and I'm sending it my parties collection, and that's it. So if I'll go now, and the server refreshes by himself, and by the way, It's not live reload like you would use with Yeoman or something like that. Meteor's way of live reloading is much more interesting, and I'll talk about it a little bit when I'll show you mobile application. So right now, all I need to do is add a new party, and then it will automatically sync on the other side. Now, it's not just live data. It's if I was offline or if I had a very slow connection, it will take care of that for me. If I didn't have a permission to add this party, it will add it instantly and then revert it. So just like my Gmail infrastructure would do. And now I want to edit this party. So let's change that. So let's go to the party details controller. And again, I'll just add the Meteor service. And this time, I'm going to bind it into an object of the parties. And I'm just going to pass the ID. And the ID, I'm just going to do it the same way as you would do with UI router. I have the party.id, party ID, and that's it. Now, again, it will refresh, hopefully, yes. Now, if I'll go here and change this party, start typing like this, party is great, then it will instantly sync on the other side. And that's it. So Meteor is not like this amorphic platform. It's just a service that you can use, and you can use your existing applications. So everything here is a regular Angular JS application. If I would use Ionic, it will work. If I would use UI Bootstrap, it will work, or whatever. Even if I had another data service that uses Firebase, it will work. If I had my own another server that works with HTTP, it will still work. So yeah, you get the point. Now, the next thing I want to show you is Meteor is more than just like my infrastructure team is more than just a real-time data service, right? The infrastructure team also takes care of my deployments. So if I want to deploy my app right now, I hope you can see the console. So everything I need to do is just do Meteor. Yeah, it looks strange, but that's OK. Meteor deploy, and then just type the URL that I want. Let's say ng-conf 1.meteor.com. And that's it. It will deploy it. Now, I'm not trusting the network right now. So I already deployed it before, but I've deployed it exactly the same thing. So I'm gonna stop it. I don't want to wait, and I don't have a lot of time. But this one command did that. So this is ng-conf 1. You can go with your own devices and go and start adding parties and destroy my demo. And again, let's just like add a new party online, and I'm adding that, and it adds here. In the same way, I can just like remove that, and I can remove dubstep, and I just do like reggae, right? And it will update it instantly. Now, if you don't want and again, if you don't want to update everything real time, you can just like I just added like a way for you to do like just pass here false, and then the only thing you can do to update a party is just like do scope.party .save, right? And then you'll get a promise with a function for success or with a function for error. So basically like you used to develop, and also I added a receipt function, so if you have like a form and you want to receipt the form, it will receipt it from the database, just for fun. So that's nice. I deployed my app, and the interesting thing about deploying is that I don't need to deploy it only on this service that I have, like a cloud service. I can just do Meteor build, and I'll get a tarball that everything I need to deploy this app everywhere, if it's on Amazon, on my local server, or everything. And Meteor services for deployment, it's more similar to Java enterprise services than from a cloud service. Like they also have the cloud service, but if you are working in a company that you can't work with the cloud, that Meteor is good for you, and it's all open source. So for me, it makes a lot of sense. OK, so the next thing I want to do is I want to add, I want to deploy to a mobile application, right? So because the infrastructure team takes care of that for me as well. And when I'm working with mobile, then the Gmail team will take care of installing my PhoneGap application, my development environment. They will take care of my production environment. And they will take care of even building, like, I don't know, connections to the camera or whatever. So the only thing I need to like add something is I do Meteor install SDK iOS, right? And when I'm doing that, I already done that, so I don't mind. I have already everything, but with one command, my computer is ready to start developing iOS applications. Then if I want to add it to my library, all I need to do is, again, Meteor add platform iOS. And again, I've already done that, but it's one command. And I can do the same with Android. So now, the next thing I want to do is I want to run it on the device. So I can actually run Meteor. No, before device, let's do just like a simulator here, like an iOS simulator. So I can run Meteor. Let's do Meteor run iOS. And then it will just create a simulator here. Now, again, I don't want, OK, I'll let it run. But in the meantime, I already prepared it. So if we go here, you know what, I'll stop it for now until it's installed the Cordova plugins. Everything will take care of for me, but I don't want to waste time on that. But I have here my simulator running. And now, when I'll just add a new party from phone, simulator, it will happen instantly. And that's nice. But I did a little bit of a trick here. So I'll add it in the code so you see that I'm not tricking you anyway. I want to add a camera. So the only thing I need to do to add the camera support, I just need to do Meteor add, and the name of it's MDG camera. It's just a random name of a package. And after doing that, I have a camera. So now let's use the camera. So I don't know. Let's add a button, not on the form, like here, button, take picture. And just like simple ng-click, get picture, right? Just like a scope, regular scope function like I would do anywhere. And let's add it here. And the only thing I need to do right now is, again, call meteor.getPicture. I can pass parameters, but I don't need to. And then I'll have my picture data as a promise. So the only thing I need to do right now is assign it to, let's say, scope parties, and let's take just the first party, and put it on image data. And that's it. Did I forget something? Ah, yeah, right. That's it. Now let's add it to the HTML. Like, let's add image. And we all know that we need to use ng-source, and then we need to add those curly braces, which cost me a lot of time. And that's it. Now, I'll deploy that app, right? So I'm just going to do, again, Meteor deploy ng-conf 2.3.meteor.com. So I'll have like a different one. I already deployed the same thing on ng-conf 2. So while it's deploying, we can try them both. But in the meantime, so I won't waste time, I'm going to go into ng-conf 2. And then you can see here that I can take a picture. And it uses my camera here on here, and I just like, and it's edited here, and it's syncing on the other client. Now that's nice, but I want to run it also on my phone. So let's stop it. Again, sorry for the old, in the big room, they have like a good connection, here less. So let's do Meteor. I have an Android here connected. So let's do Meteor run Android device. And let's work against our local mobile server. ng-conf 3, again, just to the meteor.com. And I'm going to start. This is what I would do. Again, I don't want to look at to handle the data, but to handle the connection. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to log here, and I have everything here. You won't be able to see it, but you will be able. I'm clicking the same button, take picture, and I'm going to take a picture of you. And then I'm going to save it. And it's synced from my phone to all clients. And that's it. That's all you need to do to develop a mobile app. Now, there's much more into that. So Meteor gives you a very interesting thing that if you're right now deploying your app and you get a new version, you don't need to go through the App Store or the Android store. But this is a different story. But it saves a lot of time. And another interesting thing that we haven't talked about it here is that you saw that I used the same button, the same function, like get picture. Now, ng-Cordova, you probably know that that's a great project that handles like Cordova plugins with Angular. But here, because of the Meteor build system, I code one function and it worked on the web as well, not only on my mobile device, if it's iOS or Android. And this is something ng-Cordova is not doing yet. So that's very interesting. So I talked to you about a real-time data service. There's also there's a lot more to do because it's a full framework. But as an Angular developer, I always thought that security and OAuth services should be easier. And everyone is doing that. And you should check out the Meteor way of doing that. It's really, really interesting. It's really simple. It's also in our tutorial step 8. And it shows a lot of like very strong stuff that Meteor gives you. I can use the packages on the server side. I can use the packages on the client side. And I can also use the packages for the UI if I want that. Their build system works across server and client and views. So it's just an interesting way of showing that. What's the future for Angular Meteor? So the API is pretty solid. I think we're going to get to 1.0 very soon. We have a nice site. We have tutorials, and we have videos, and I said that already. I'm working now on an Angular 2.0 version, which the interesting thing about Angular 2.0 is that we made Angular 1.0 work with Meteor much more similar to the way Angular 2.0 works. And this talk, I won't gonna dive into the technical details, but because we're working in a reactive way, that it's much more similar to the way Angular 2.0 works. But I'm not gonna go into that right now. Soon enough, you will get a demo of that. Another thing one of our guy that works with me started doing is to do a server-side Angular JS on top of Meteor. So you can use just Angular JS code with services, with everything you're familiar with, and use those services on the server side. This is very interesting. There's already a branch in Angular Meteor that does that with simple examples. You should try it. And the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start releasing like stuff that I'm gonna start releasing stuff that I learned from working with those two frameworks. I see a lot of like comparisons on the web that are really low level. Like this is faster than that, this is better than that. And from working with both of them, I think we can do much better comparison between the two and what are the strengths and weaknesses of each framework. So I haven't done it alone. I have like small team of freelancers working for me, and I searched for the most embarrassing photos I could find. And we also have a lot of very good community supporters, and we have really good quality pull requests. I'm very impressed by our pull request quality that we get. And one of our biggest supporters sits here. So just start, right? Just go and type Angular Meteor in Google, try the tutorial, the API reference, just try it. And yeah, on a personal note, I waited for a long time for someone to do Angular Meteor. Nobody done that for 2 years, so I just decided to do it. And you're probably wondering what this next slide will be. So I'm waiting for you to just try it. Go in and try it. Try it. I'm waiting. Thank you.